Everyone, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. I'm Alex McCarthy with Inside Indiana, joined by Sam Beishuizen of the IDS. Sam, first of all, I know you're a long-time reader, but what's it like to be on Inside Indiana Overtime for the first time?
It's special. You dream about these things for a year, and it comes to fruition. And I could not be in a better place than in the wherever we are.
In the visiting coach's office in the big house.
No visiting coaches here.
Right.
I was expecting Kevin
not
Wilson
anymore.
to be hanging out.
Right, but just visiting media instead of visiting coaches. But speaking of the big house, it was not a very hospitable house for Indiana today. They lose 34-10 in a game where really their offense just never really got going. They had fewer than 200 total yards. Zander Diamont again kind of struggled. He only threw 8 passes. Completed 5 of them. That's a pretty good completion percentage. But only for 24 yards, 35 total yards in his 2 starts as a college quarterback, which isn't obviously ideal. It's maybe it's just a lot, too much too soon for him. He expected a redshirt this season, and then gets thrown in against Michigan State and then Michigan in front of 103,000 people here today.
I don't know if it was really 103.
Okay, 103.
Okay.
Anyway, it's still 3 times, 4 times as many people as he usually plays in front of at Memorial Stadium.
Easily.
But he was, obviously everyone kind of wants to talk about him with the offense. Tevin Coleman didn't really break any big runs. I think 17 was his largest run.
And that was out of the Wildcat.
Yes.
Which was
it was just like a bizarre, weird day from Indiana's offense. There was a lot of Wildcat action. I guess, Sam, what are your takeaways from Indiana's offense as a whole today?
Yeah, you kind of touched on it. Struggles and weird struggles. I mean, we saw they weren't just bad; they were bad in unique ways, which I guess was exciting.
It was. They kept us guessing.
Right.
Definitely on our toes.
I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, I go, "Wow, Zander Diamont looks like he gained a few inches and quite a few pounds." And I go, "No, wait, that's Tevin Coleman in at quarterback."
And his race also changed. Yeah.
And we did not expect to see Tevin Coleman in at quarterback. I mean, it was so weird. Even after the game, you're talking to Tevin. I go, "So Tevin, have you played quarterback?" No. Well, have you practiced? Yeah. And how'd those throws go? Nah. You know what I mean?
Basically, yeah.
That's the extent of the conversation. Where if you're going to do the Wildcat and your running back is just like, "Yeah, man, I really can't throw." That's not good if you're But yeah, it looks weird. Never really got a running game going. Tevin did get to 100 yards, which was nice.
Yep, 10 straight games for him, still extending his Indiana record of 10 straight 100-yard games.
But apart from that, I mean, we didn't call Nick Stoner's name. We didn't call Shane Wynn's name, really. Maybe once.
He had 2 receptions for 12 yards. But there were only 3 guys who caught passes, too. I mean, there weren't that many guys involved in the offense, which is kind of unusual for an IU team. You have to kind of give the coaches credit a little bit or quite a bit, I guess, for just trying new things all day. Trying the Wildcat with Coleman first, and then with D'Angelo Roberts a little bit.
Did you expect that at all? Could anybody have expected that?
Maybe from people have kind of joked over the past couple of weeks of they should just snap the ball to Coleman every play, instead because after Sudfeld went down, Covington went down, and you're playing 170-pound Zander Diamont against Big Ten competition. Why not, just snap the ball right to your best player and put it in his hands every play? But I think it was kind of more of well, actually, I was, with my dad before the game. I'm from Michigan, and he said, "So what's the Indiana game plan today? They're just going to snap the ball to Coleman every play?" And I said, "I don't think so." But then they did it.
They tried to.
Yeah, they tried. They tried to, and it really didn't work. I mean, he fumbled twice. on from the Wildcat. Once, Michigan recovered the fumble and then ran it in, then ended up scoring on the next drive. And that's really been another theme of the year for Indiana is the turnover game. And Indiana's actually been really good ball security-wise. They had 2 turnovers today. But for the most part, they've been pretty sound in not turning the ball over. But really, their defense hasn't been able to create turnovers. They've been in the right spot at the right time a lot of times, and just for some reason haven't been able to reel in a catch. I mean, Flo Harden today had a pick 6 in his hand.
Right there.
Yes. I mean, there was nobody ahead of him. And the ball, falls out of his hands.
Dutra later.
Chase Dutra in the end zone.
That led to 7 points on that same possession for Michigan. Not good. He even was saying, we have to make those plays because if you're not, they're going to score on you. And this defense knows the offense is in a state of we don't even know what it is. They're bad.
Yes.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's
and the
bad.
defense knows that. They have to make these plays, and they were coming close to a few.
Yes.
But when you're doing that, and when you do make a play, when Dutra did have his interception, you go down, you're in the red zone, and then Griffin Oaks, he had the leg for it, but it went way off that crossbar and bounced.
What was it, a 25?
25-yarder,
and it just
never
clanged
a
right
chance.
against the post there.
What was interesting, though, was what Wilson said. I think he kind of almost got overlooked, but Nate Boudreau, had he not been injured, his shoulder injury, may have played the rest of the game.
Yeah.
That's
oh,
man.
This offense is in a very strange place, to say the least. But yeah, like you mentioned, Wilson said Nate Boudreau, the walk-on, who's started as the fourth string quarterback for IU this year, now the backup, got a series today and hurt his shoulder a little bit. And Wilson made sure to say, it's not a Sudfeld level shoulder injury. I don't expect Boudreau to be out for the year or anything like that. But yeah, IU might just kind of try what it did, kind of last year with kind of switching quarterbacks in and out on a much lower level.
With Danny Cameron,
right,
potentially.
Yeah,
and,
or David Woods from the
David
Indy
Woods.
Star, as Kevin Wilson joked during the press conference.
Third string quarterback. I didn't know he had eligibility.
Me neither. I had no idea.
Good for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see him suit up. But the turnover problem has been there for IU the past 2 years. I mean, Tim Bennett led the country in pass deflections or breakups last year, but he only turned like 2 of them into interceptions or something like maybe not even that.
I think it was 1.
Yeah. It's been a problem for IU the last 2 years where they're in the right place at the right time and just somehow don't have the hands on defense to be able to reel in those interceptions or to be able to get to the quarterback in time to knock a ball loose. And
Wilson, he jokes about that. Wilson even jokes about that. He said, well, maybe if they were going to catch the ball, they would have been on offense. But that's almost a sad joke in every way possible, because he's just admitting, our defense, they're in the right place, but they've got no hands.
Yeah,
and they just
basically.
They can't do the most important thing in having the ball.
Right.
They're just not
right,
good
and
with
actually
the ball.
completing the play. But it's something that totally changes games. I mean, if Wilson said that you take away some mistakes and it's a 17-point swing if IU doesn't turn the ball over those 2 times, if Griffin Oaks is able to make that field goal after the Chase Dutra interception. And again, that's all very hypothetical. But still, I mean, it's going to change games no matter what with the turnover margin. That's something that Wilson has always talked about quite a bit, but IU just hasn't really been able to do that. But they're going to try and do it again next week against Penn State. It's going to be a noon game at Memorial Stadium. IU beat Penn State for the first time ever last year, and Penn State I think has lost 3 or 4 in a row. So you never know. It could happen. Zander Diamont could take a huge step and.
He's growing.
He's growing, certainly.
11.
11 to 24. So
250?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Pump the brakes there a little bit.
You don't know where that's going.
That's true. But he said, Diamont said he feels a lot more comfortable. He felt like he was managing the game a little bit more. He felt like he adjusted to the speed of the game a lot more this week.
But they've been saying that.
I know.
They've all been. That was the last 3 weeks. The last 2 weeks, all of our stories have been Xander's getting really comfortable and he's confident.
Right.
But comfortable and confidence gained not even 24
yards. Yeah, but a 62% completion.
That's better.
So that's that. We'll see what happens next week. We'll see what IU is able to put out on the field next week at Memorial Stadium against Penn State. But for now, we're going to get out of here because it's late. He's still got to drive back to Bloomington tonight.
We'll be home at 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun drive. Anyway, for Sam Beishuizen, thank you again from the IDS for being on.
I'm honored.
You're welcome. I'm Alex McCarthy signing off from Ann Arbor, and we'll see you next week.